Hey there, this is Nick from Income Digs. Welcome to another video tutorial. Today we are continuing on in our series about Asana, using Asana with your virtual assistant. Asana is a really popular, really powerful task management tool, and so we're going to continue on with the series here. I have a couple other videos that I recommend you watch those first. Okay, those two videos were all about using Asana, the free version of Asana. So all the cool stuff we could do for free with Asana. And what we're doing now with this video and the future is talking about, well, what happens if we start to unlock some of those premium features by paying for the subscription. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate some of the really cool stuff we can do. Not required. Of course, what we can do on the free version is really, really useful, but we're going to try to take things to the next level with this paid version. So you can see I have a trial started here and for this test account. And we're going to go through some of the features. Specifically today, I'm going to talk about how we can make use of the timeline view with the paid version of Asana. So that means start dates, that means dependencies, maybe even some custom fields. I'm also going to tease out how we can use templates. Okay, we can create our own templates. So stick with me here. Let's talk about all the cool features that we got. So if I go to this project here, and I'm currently in list view. List view is a view that we had available to us in the free version. Nothing super new in this view here yet, but notice one thing that we have available to us. If I click on a specific task, for example, demo, I can not only do I set a due date, but I can even start a start date. I can set a start date. So if we go like, hey, I'm going to demo from the 6th of March through the 10th, I have a start and I have an end date. Oops. Okay. So cool. Now that might seem like an intuitive type thing, but if you think about what separates a task management tool from a project management tool, this is it. The start dates, okay? So that's great, and it shows up here. Now, this is still gonna show as a due date to a specific person, potentially, but now we can see the start dates. Now, where that comes in handy a lot is on the timeline view. The timeline view is something that is new to us for our paid version, okay? So if I click the timeline view, it's going to start populating my tasks on a timeline. Okay, and not only does it populate them, but I can even click and drag them around. So you see the task shows up here kind of like a Gantt chart, and I can click and drag it and move it. You see this is a 3-day task. If I move it, it goes 6, 7, 8. Now if that takes longer, I can drag this out and say that that's a 5-day task. All right, this asbestos survey, I can move that. I can say that's like a 3-day task, whatever the case is. Aligning subcontractors, maybe I'm going to do this here. Maybe that's a 5-day task. The other thing we can do is we can set dependencies, okay? So, and you can see it start to show up here. If I click and drag this, what it's going to do is it's going to say that my one task is dependent on the other, okay? So you see that dependency moves there. And this is really, really useful. It's kind of like a Gantt chart, right? So one thing that I know is true in Buffalo where I am is that I need to do an asbestos survey before a permit. Once I have the permit, and I probably finalize architectural drawings too. So I'm just kind of taking the sample thing. So I have this finalize architectural drawings. Both of these things need to happen before I can file for my permit, okay? So you can see I asbestos survey, file for permit, okay? And then I align on subcontractors, and then I have other stuff that I can do as well. Now, a lot of the stuff isn't even on the timeline yet. So if I want to see those, I can click on unscheduled. And here's my list of stuff that's not on the timeline yet, okay? So I can bring those in. I can just click and drag them in, okay? So there's my framing, and I can say, all right, demo happens, and then framing happens. Now, let's say that I can't start demo until file for permit starts, then maybe I can link these tasks like that, okay? Notice when I move the one, it moves the other. So dependencies will automatically adjust when dates change. You can change how date shifts are handled. Okay, so to do that, I can click the 3 lines here and I can do dependency management options. Okay, so this is asking us when we move a task, how should it react? How should the system react? Okay, so like if I were to move demo, we would assume probably that framing would move out. Okay, now what happens if I move demo but not all the way? Okay, so what's happening here is right now I have a 3-day lag. Like I'm gonna finish, let's just say that demo is like like this, okay? So I'm going to finish demo, and then I have like a 3-day lag before I have to start framing. Now, why would that be the case? It might not be the case, okay? If I move demo to here, framing is going to stay because of how my dependencies are set up. But if I adjust my dependencies here and say, maintain the buffer, meaning for whatever reason, we need a lag between when I end at one task and when I start another. So if I click maintain buffer, okay, now when I move demo to here, it's going to push the whole thing out, okay? See it all move there. Now, what's happening as well is these dependencies are coming with it, which is not necessarily how I would want this to work. I would probably disconnect those. But so it's that buffer, that lag time is maintaining itself. Now, where does this information show up? Okay, so it shows up visually here with these lines, but you can see it also shows up here within the task. So it's blocked by demo, okay? So this one task is blocked by demo, meaning it can't proceed until demo happens. If I click on demo, it's blocking framing and it's blocked by file for permit, okay? So these dependencies is really helpful, especially if you make a template. Think about making a template where you have demo, framing, electrical, all that stuff, right? And you can move those throughout, all right? Super, super powerful, all right? I'm going to bring my dependencies back to consume buffer, okay? I'm going to allow them to, as long as I don't encroach. Once I encroach, it's going to bump it, see? But if I don't encroach, it's going to keep it. And I can click and drag and move things around. I got my inspections here as well. Now, where did that go? Okay, so my installation inspection here, so it's a tag for inspection. So what is going on with the colors here? So because this has a tag for inspection, Asana is coloring by those tags, okay? Now, inspection is probably something that would be treated as a milestone. So that would be something where I'd probably have the start date and the finish date be the exact same, okay? So I can put on there just a 1-to-1. All right, and I might do my inspection as soon as my framing is done, or at least this framing, this general one, so I can move that. Okay, maybe I want a buffer there because I need to do some stuff before I'm 100% done. So this timeline view is completely new. I can click all these drawers to have it show up a little bit better. And of course, we can still drill down into our tasks. I can click on the task and see other items here, okay? So super useful, super awesome. And you have your sections here as well. So what you might want to do with a template like this or with a project like this is maybe do some phasing. So those of you who are used to Buildertrend, you have some kind of phasing. So maybe you have like demo and rough-ins, then you have drywall and paint, then you have carpentry. That might make sense for your section. So you might want to give that a try. But this is something that, I mean, you can tell, just complete game changer when it comes to the tool versus just the list. We have power here. Now, another thing that is available to us is custom fields. So we can add a custom field here. So what would a custom field be? It's really anything that would make sense. So you might make a custom field if you wanted to potentially use Asana as a CRM. Now, this is just an example. You don't need to use Asana as a CRM, but let's create, let's say, a blank project for CRM. All right, so I'm just going to call that my CRM. I'm going to go ahead and go to the project. Okay, now within my CRM, so I might have like 123 Main Street is an item within my CRM. Okay, now I can click custom field. I can add a field for status, and I can have a single select, and it could be new, it could be qualified, it could be proposal, it could be negotiation, and it could be won or lost or abandoned. Okay, now this is just an example. There's a lot of things we got to think about if we're really going to use this for a CRM, but I just want to show you what custom fields are. Okay, so I can create that field, and I can say that this is a new, maybe 456 Maple is in the status of proposal. All right, now I can do a board where yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I'm pretty sure we can do a board by status. I'll figure that out for our next video. I don't want to bog us down here, but we have custom fields available, and you saw that we had those different types as well. So we can add a single select, a different date field, another people field, text, etc. So we're really opening up the options. Our tasks have all these different attributes that can help us sort, filter, all that kind of stuff. So that is another cool benefit of the paid version of Asana. The last thing I want to talk about, and we're just going to touch on it, is our templating. So in the past, when we were creating projects, we kind of could create from a template, but it wasn't really much of anything. It was just kind of a list or a board, right? Now what we can do, and I encourage you to do this if you're working with your virtual assistant, create standard operating procedures through Asana templates. So you see here I have this tenant onboarding. Now this is in no way, shape, or form built out to completion here at all, but let's say it is, right? So we have our tasks set up here. Okay, what we can do with these, and we can set dates. Okay, so what I could do with this, once it's set up, and maybe we have custom fields, we have all that kind of stuff, right? I can then go to save as template, tenant onboarding, anyone in the team can edit, create that template. All right, so now we can continue to build this thing out, and notice what happens with the dates. Now it's 9 days after, on project start date, 11 days after. And so what that's going to do is when I bring this tenant onboarding and give it a start date, those dates are going to automatically be assigned. The other thing we can do with this is use project roles. So instead of assigning directly to a specific human being, instead I can set up project roles for, say, virtual assistant, property manager. Okay, so I have those roles, and instead of assigning to a specific person, I'm going to assign to virtual assistant. I wish I didn't have to keep clicking that, but okay, so I have some assigned to virtual assistant, some assigned to property manager, and we'll just call it done. Okay, so now when I want to create, let's say I want to create a new project, okay, and I want to use a template, and I want to use tenant onboarding, okay, I'm going to use this template, and I'm going to call this project tenant onboarding 123 main Mackenzie, okay? And what's the start date of this? Let's say that I want to start it on the 6th of March. When I click continue, who is the virtual assistant? Service@incomediggs.com. Who is the property management manager? That's me. So it's going to automatically assign to those people. Now, why is that better than the individual? What happens if we have movement throughout our organization? We want to be able to have those assignments go through. So I'm going to click go to project, and this entire thing will have been created, hopefully, as it works through here, with the proper assignments and with the proper due dates, okay? Super powerful. We are just scratching the surface on how useful this all is, but what I'm trying to show you is how we can create SOPs with these project templates, so we don't have to recreate every time we have a new turnover, a new tenant coming through. We can create almost like a training manual as our project templates. Super useful. All right, so we're going to continue on with Asana. We're going to build a whole series about all this stuff and how we can use Asana for our virtual assistant. So be sure to tune back into the channel here. Let us know also what you want to see. If there's a specific question you have, go ahead and throw it in the comments and we will be sure to answer it. Feel free to check out all the free materials we have available at incomediggs.com, and also get on the wait list. We have a new course coming out called Super VA. So if you want to be on the wait list, if you want to be the first to get that course, you can sign up in the link in the description as well. All right, I will see you on the next video.